Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom. Today we are making a really cool design. This is called the Aether bracelet. This was designed by Foresthook. He's such a talented designer and has a lot of really cool designs over on his channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly encourage you guys to do so. He does put a lot of time and effort into them, so make sure you let him know down below what you think of this one. So this is an advanced design and does take some patience. It took me 7 of these sections to get a full-length bracelet, but the bands you use can affect that. Forest needed 9, so keep that in mind. We're going to have to start by making some prep pieces, so you're also going to need to have approximately 7 C-clips for that, and you also need a hook. It does not have to be double-ended. So for now, let's start getting those supplies together, and then I'll go over the prep pieces and the color combo. To get started, we do need to make these fishtail pieces ahead of time. Since I need 7 sections, I'm going to need 7 of these fishtails. They end up sitting at the top of each one of these sections. So you can see the 4 gradient colors I'm using right here, and I have them laid out in this row right here. So the purple are going to be my borders. They're also mixed in here. And then the orange, green, teal, and pink are my gradient colors, and all of the whites are my accent colors. And you can see how it's going to look right here. I highly encourage you to lay yours out the same way. There should be 17 bands total. I'm going to make the first one on camera with you, or at least get you started. I'm assuming everyone knows how to make a fishtail, but I'll get this one started with you. We're going to work left to right, and the first one we're going to twist on like a figure 8. Then you're going to grab 2 more, and you're going to pull that through and close it off. We're now going to go down the line, grabbing one after another. We're just going to pull it through everything on the hook, and we're going to reclaim the outside bands. We're just making a regular fishtail. So keep pulling it through everything and reclaiming the outside bands like that, and I'll come back when I get down to the very last band. When you are down to that last band, all you're going to do is pull it through everything and then bring both ends together, and that's what we're going to C-clip. So go ahead and repeat that process until you have a total of 7. Make sure that you make them all identical to your first one, and then I'll come back and show you what we're going to do next. Once you have all of your fishtails made, put 7 to the side. We only need to work with 1 right now. And just so you know, if you get to the end of your bracelet and you have no more fishtails and it's not big enough, all you have to do is make more fishtails and keep building it. Once you know the process, you'll see how easy it is to make the bracelet bigger. But we're going to start by grabbing our hook and twisting our border color on. That's going to be a cat band for a little bit later. Just act like it's not there. We're going to grab our piece here, our first fishtail, and you want the piece facing like this. You don't want to see the circle of the cat band. Turn it this way. We're going to be going in from the side of the fishtail. So locate your first gradient, which is my orange. Put your hook right under it, but from the side like this, and push straight through. By doing that, you should be going through both of these 2 chains right here. Because it's fishtail, that's why it's technically going through 2. So now we're going to grab our border color again. And this part might seem a little strange, but we're going to drop this band over the fishtail and let it sit down here on your hook like that. So pinch both sides of it and bend that band down like this. We're going to pull that first purple through the fishtail and through the second purple. Like that. Once it's through, I just tighten it a little bit. So scoop that band up so that both of them are on your hook like so. And we're going to start pulling our gradient bands through now. Grabbing my orange first. We're going to pull this through the first 2. You're going to pick up that first one, get it back on your hook, and then close off the orange. We're going to fold this first band over the second. Keeping it crossed, you're now going to pinch that first band, which is now the purple, pull it off the hook and let the orange fall off, and now replace that purple back on. It should look like that. We have to do that to the remaining bands, except now we just have 1 band to pull through and not 2. So I'll grab my next gradient. We're going to pull it through 1, pick that purple back up. You're going to fold that first band over the second. Pull that purple off. Let that first green fall off. And put the purple back on. Grab your third gradient and do that again. This purple band keeps getting tighter and tighter, by the way, the more we pull through. But we're going to pull this third one through, reclaim that purple, fold that first over the second, pinch the first and drop that off, and close. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Alright, so once you have all your gradient bands through, we're going to pull 4 of our borders through. So we're going to pull the first one through all 5. You're going to skip over the first, and you're going to pick up the remaining 3 gradient bands, and then close it off. Each time we pull one of these through, we're actually dropping off from right to left the gradient band. So you can see we already dropped the first one. Now we will be reclaiming the border bands as well for now on, so you'll see what I mean. We're going to pull this through 5. You're going to reclaim the first, skip the second, pick up the remaining 3, which does include the border. This next one I find to be the hardest because we have to reclaim the borders and also that pink one. So pull it through everything. You're going to pick up the first, skip over the next 2, pick up the 4th and the 6th. Close it off and it should look like that. We have one more border to pull through. We're going to pull that through everything, and we're just going to pick up the outside borders. Like that. So now we're going to come over to our fishtail, and we need to put our hook through the side again. Locate where your next border purple is, which for me is right here. You're going to go through from the side. If it's easier to look for your gradient color, just put your hook right under your gradient color and push through. You should be going through your border and accent, which is my purple and white. So every time we put our hook through the fishtail like that, you always have to grab a border band and drop it loose like that. We're going to pinch it. We're going to pull that first purple through the fishtail and through this purple. And then once we're through it, we're also going to pull it through these bands here and this cat band. But I do it one step at a time. So I pull it through the fishtail and the purple, and then I tighten it. Now we're going to pull it through these 4. I get a better grip of it. Now we're going to push this cat band on as well. Like so. We just completed our first little bubble. And now we're going to start that again. This little cat band is not something we do every round. It's just this first piece because that's the cat band we need to close with. We will be adding one more in a little bit. So to start the second bubble, we need to scoop up that band that is sitting on the fishtail that we just pulled through. Like that. We need to start pulling those gradient bands through the same way. So I start with my orange. So pull them through 2. Pick up the first. You're going to fold it over and pinch that purple to release the orange. And put the purple back on. Grab your second gradient. Pull it through the 1. Pick that 1 purple back up. Fold it over, pinch that purple and release that green. Place it back on. We're going to repeat that again. You're repeating the same stitch. We actually do this stitch a lot. It's hard for me with these nails, I must say. And one more time. So we have our 4 gradient bands on again, and we need to pull our 4 borders through again. So pull the first one through all 5. You're going to skip the first and pick up the outside 3 gradients and close. Pull your next border band through all 5. You're going to pick up the first, skip the second, and pick up the outside 3 bands, which includes the border, and close. We're going to pull our next border through. We're going to pull it through everything. We're going to pick up the first, skip the second and third, pick up the fourth, skip the fifth, and pick up the sixth. Close, and it should look like that. And one more. We're going to pull this one through everything and just reclaim the outside 2 borders. Like that. So now we're going to come back to our fishtail. Every time we are finished pulling our last border through, we come over to the fishtail. We're going to push through our next border in line, which is right here. But again, if it's easier, just locate your gradient. There's my teal. Go underneath of it and push straight through. Grab your border and drop that over the fishtail. We're going to bend it and we're going to pull it through the fishtail and through that second purple. I like to tighten it and now pull it through the remaining 4. And we just completed our second bubble. We have to do that again. So we're going to scoop this band up. So I am going to do this part without explaining the actual stitch. Just pull all 4 of them through and repeat the same stitch. Okay, so once you get all the 4 gradients on, you have to pull 4 borders through again. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to pull it through everything. You're going to skip the first and pick up the remaining 3 and close. You're going to pull the next one through everything. You're going to pick up the first, skip the second, and pick up the remaining 3, which includes the border, and close. Once again, you're going to pull your border through everything. Reclaim the first, skip the second and third, pick up the fourth, and also pick up the 6th. Close. And one last border. Pull it through everything and reclaim just the outside borders. Like that. So we're done pulling that through, so we need to come back to our fishtail. I'm going to put my hook right under my next gradient, which should be going through my purple. When I push it through, it should be going through my purple and my white, just like the round before. We're going to grab our border and drop it onto our fishtail. And there's a train going by, sorry. You're going to pull that purple through the fishtail and through the other purple band next to it. Once you tighten it, you're now going to pull it through the remaining 4. We just completed our 3rd bubble. So for this first piece, we have to do one extra step and add the second cap band on. So put this band that's on your hook on your finger for just a second to hold it. Grab a border band and twist it onto your hook like we did at the very start. Place that band back on your hook. Now forget about that cap band for just a minute. We're going to scoop up this band that is on the fishtail so that we can start our final bubble. So we're going to start pulling the gradient bands through again. We're going to pull this first band also through the cap band. So pull it through both loops on your hook and also through the cap band. You're going to skip over the cap band and pick up the first band like so, and then close off your orange. Now you're going to continue this bubble as normal, doing the stitch, crossing it over, and releasing that first orange off the hook. If I can get a hold of it. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and keep pulling our gradient bands through. I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly here. Okay, so I got all my gradient bands on. And now we're going to grab 4 of our borders. You're going to pull the first border through everything. Skip the first, pick up the remaining 3. Pull your next one through everything. You're going to pick up the first, skip the second, and pick up the outside 3. Pull your next one through everything. You're going to pick up the first, skip the second and third, pick up the 4th and 6th, and close. And your final border goes through everything and just reclaim the outside border bands. So we are done that part now. So we are going to pick up our fishtail one more time. And this time there's no more gradients. So you're actually going through the 3rd chain. If you're looking on the side here, it will be a purple that you're going through again. So here's my 3rd chain. I'm just going to push it straight through. There we go. It should be going through that purple and the white just like the 2 rounds before. We're going to grab our purple border, drop it on, bend it, pull it through, and then pull it through the remaining 4 bands. Like that. So to close off this section, we need to pull this right band that is in the C-clip through the band on the hook. So instead of unhooking the C-clip right now, I just put my hook through that band that's in the C-clip, through the right one, and then now pull it through the one that is on your hook. I then go back to the C-clip and pick up the left band and get that back on my hook. Undo the C-clip and it will look like that. Go ahead and C-clip that back together, and this is what your first piece should look like. We're ready to move on to our next piece. We need to grab our hook and put it into the cat band, keeping your piece in the same direction that it was already in. So take your hook, place it from the inside through the out like that. My C-clip is on the inside closest to my hand. That is important. We're going to grab another fishtail piece. Make sure that your fishtail circle is to the side. You're going to put your hook right under your first gradient or into the second purple chain like that. And we're ready to drop on our next border. A lot of this bracelet is very repetitive, but there's like small parts here and there that you have to do. Okay, so we're going to bend that piece. You're going to pull that purple through the fishtail and through the other side. Do not pull it through the cat band just yet. We're going to pick up that band. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead, pull your 4 gradient bands through, pull 3 of your borders, but when you get down to your 4th border, wait for me, and I'll meet you back here to do the 4th. So we're going to pull our last border band through, and when you pull this through, you're going to pull it through everything here and the cat band. So go ahead and pull this 4th border through. You're going to skip over that cat band, and you're going to pick up the outer fishtail border and the outer one over here. Close it off, and it should look like that. So every time we're done the border sections, remember we always come to the fishtail and put our hook through. You're going to go right under your last gradient, which will be going through my purple and my white if you're looking at the front. Drop your border down. Pinch it and pull it through. And then also pull it through these 4 here. We will eventually connect this other half, but not until we get to the 3rd bubble. So we're going to pick this band up so that we have 2 of them. And we're going to start pulling our gradient and borders through again. So pull your 4 gradients and your 4 borders through, and then I will meet you back here. Okay, so I did that. So I just wanted to remind you guys that after you complete those, you have to come back to your fishtail enter into your next border, which is located under the gradient. Oops, I put mine through wrong. There we go. And then drop your border on the fishtail. Pull it through everything, including these 4. We have 2 bubbles done. We have to do another bubble. So to start the bubble, we need to pick up that band. And once again, you're going to pull 4 gradients and 4 borders through. So go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to come back on because we will have to do something different after the 3rd bubble. Okay, so just hit the pause button if you need to. I'm done pulling those through again. So like we did many times before, we're going to push our hook through the fishtail again, going under the gradient band through my purple and white. We are going to do the same and drop our band on here. We're going to pull this through the fishtail, and we're going to also pull it through these 4. Like that. Okay, so this is where we need to take a little pause. Every time you get to the end of the 3rd bubble, like I'm at right now, we need to reconnect the other end of the piece below it. We're going to put this on our finger like we did before. And then I'm going to come over here. We're going to put our hook through the 2 bands that our C-clip is connected to. And then I'm going to put that band that is on my finger back on. We're going to remove that C-clip now because we know nothing's going to fall off. And now, since we have it connected, now we can scoop that band up right here, like so. And now we can continue making our 4th bubble. So this time we do have 4 bands on our hook. We're going to grab our first gradient band. We're going to be pulling this gradient band through all 4. You have to skip over the first 2 and pick up the 3rd, which is still the same band we've always picked up before. We just had to skip over those 2. Close it off. And you're going to continue doing the stitch as normal, crossing the first, over the purple, pinch, let it drop, and place it back on. So we're going to continue making the 3rd bubble the same way. So pull the rest of your 3 gradient bands through and your 4 borders through, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I finished getting my 4th bubble bands done right here. So lastly, we need to come back to our fishtail. You're going to enter in the 3rd chain down, looking at the right of it. Push it through, and it should technically be going through the purple and the white. We're going to drop our border color down, pinch and fold, and pull it through everything, including the 4 bands, like that. We're going to go ahead and pick up the right side of this band that is in the C-clip. Pull it through the band on your hook. Come back over to the C-clip and pick up the left band. I only do it that way. You could un-C-clip it and do it, but this way you reduce the risk of dropping anything. Take the C-clip off, and it should look like this. We just completed 2 of our sections now. So now you're going to re-C-clip this together, like so. So you're actually at the point where you're going to be putting your hook back through, keeping that C-clip on the right, or on the inside near your hand if you're left-handed, like this. And that's when you're going to grab your fishtail to start the next section. I am going to put the timestamp here though, because you will want to rewind it and watch from the previous steps. I know it is a lot to remember. So if you rewind it and watch from right here, all you have to do is follow along with me. Every time you get to that timestamp, rewind it again, and just keep watching until your bracelet's long enough to fit your wrist. When it is actually long enough, and you're at the end, you're already going to have 1 C-clip on the right side. All you need to do is pop another C-clip onto the left cap band, and then you can bring both ends around. You're just going to connect one side to this cap band here, and the other to the one over here, like that. And that is how you complete the Aether bracelet, which is a very cool design created by a very talented designer, Foresthook. Don't forget to tag him and myself if you have the ability to over on Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook. But that will be it for today, you guys. I thank you all so much for watching and for your patience, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.